I just realized I was muted the entire time. Great. During the second beta, I was sure to be a Ghostblade player, but then I saw Launcher bring down the Quantum Bomb, so I bid Ghostblade goodbye. Hi there, my name's Sasa, and I've actually managed to keep mentioning this in recent videos, so here goes once again. Like and subscribe and hit the bell icon. Liking this video, sharing it, and subscribing to my channel apparently helps out tremendously, and only takes a few clicks, so have at it. Go, go, go. I'm not telling you anything new here when I'm saying that DNF Duel is a lot of fun. Everyone has been harping on and on about it. What has me going back to the game every other day or so is the game's simple inputs. With simple I mean that DP motions are about as complex as it gets. You also have the option to go for even simpler inputs, the same way you enter your specials in Smash for example. So in a sense, it's kind of like playing Ryu or Ken in Smash, where you can use a single direction plus a button just fine, but you get benefits for executing it with the original motion input. This was a relatively long way of saying that this system allowed me to learn how to play Launcher's most basic game plan within a relatively short amount of time. I use motion-based inputs for everything except for the DP, so a hybrid playstyle is not an issue either. Because of this input system, I can play the game interchangeably with my Hitbox as well as with a DualSense just fine, without having to adjust much if at all. The game still has its intricacies, and it really forces you up front to learn the fundamentals of it a lot more than other games do. I know this might be a little controversial, but it is just a fact that simplifying certain aspects of any competitive game, fighting game or otherwise, does not suddenly level the playing field and allow scrubs to compete with the better players in a game. Simpler and easier also means that the players that put in the time to learn and understand the game properly, will also have it easier. You're not closing the gap, in fact you could argue that it's widening the gap due to how much quicker top players will be able to solve the game. Realistically though, it's the exact same story, just with a different rule set. So to answer the question if there's a chance that you will lose to quote-unquote scrubs, no, there isn't. If you're losing to anyone and calling them a scrub, you are the scrub. DNF Duel is a little different than most fighters I've played so far. Combos in particular feel very different to me than they do in other games, especially being able to go into debt with your MP gauge is an amazing aspect in regards to decision making at the end of a combo. Also, the combos are long, and I mean very long. Well, by today's standards anyway. Learning the combos can be a little difficult in the beginning as due to the simple input systems, or to me at least it feels like it, the game seemingly requires you to do your inputs a lot cleaner. Timing button inputs mid-combo over and over so that the buttons will actually connect with different timings within a single combo, while instances that don't really require timing, again, seemingly, will drop if you mash the button, is a tall order starting out. You will learn them quickly enough, especially if you actually try to utilize them in actual matches. Just be aware though that the input system, again, seemingly requires you to not mash. Or maybe that's just a launcher thing, I don't know. Because of the game's simple execution, making a mistake can mean getting punished extremely hard, especially if your opponent is below 30% health already and has a nasty awakening skill active. You really have to work on your hit confirms. With Launcher, it's a relatively simple one, as hit confirming 5AA has a long enough animation on contact to decide if I want to go for 4S to combo, 5B to hopefully make it a safe block string, or be wild and go for a grenade, a rocket or something else and probably die. But that's life, she struggles a lot after all. With other characters, this might be more difficult and could require a lot more practice, but you really have to learn your hit confirms in this game. This is what I meant with that the game is forcing its fundamentals on you. As the game is simplified in its inputs, people who learn the combos will have them down to a T and will punish you heavily if you didn't confirm correctly and went into an unsafe move. Pressure in this game was a little bit difficult to grasp for me at first. This is especially true if you jump into the game a little later. I only let the game slide for like a week as I was busy playing Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, but even in Bronze, I immediately found myself overwhelmed by the sheer onslaught of stuff being thrown at me, none of which I had any idea how to deal with. Most games require some sort of knowledge to be able to effectively punish when your opponent is overextending. In this game, however, it's a little more tricky, I feel, because due to the nature of how the MP gauge works and that you can cancel into a special from, I believe, everything, plus that the gauge actually regenerates during long combos, you start to feel like your opponent has like a bajillion plus frames, which may or may not be true. I gotta be honest, I gave up almost immediately on trying to figure out how to deal with pressure in this game. I spent about 20 minutes in training mode trying to recreate some pressure string that a striker player was destroying me with, and I couldn't even figure out how to recreate it. I never even got to the part of trying to find a solution to get around it, so I just took to YouTube instead. Shoutouts to Daikon's Punish Guide, which in fact even reminded me that guard cancelling is a thing. I had completely forgotten about that. As of right now, the game seems very heavy on 2-tapping, and considering that there are currently inescapable guard break setups and infinites, I'm pretty sure things are going to shift around over time as things are getting balanced out. Who knows? Perhaps Launcher will even get some type of attack, jumping or grounded, that would maybe give the opposing player a reason to block high every so often instead of negating 100% of a moveset with crouch blocking. Well, one can dream, right? What changes we will see in the coming weeks and months, I don't know, who's to say, right? As it stands right now though, single mistakes are getting punished so hard that you're mostly only making 2 to 3 decisions per match. That's neither good nor bad, that's simply where we're at right now. So if you're the type of person that keeps whining about how combos are bad game design as I don't get to do anything while being comboed and blah 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 blah, this is probably not the game for you. We can keep it short with the netcode. It's insane how good it is. I've played people from Tokyo, Osaka and Seoul, and all of them ran smoother than me playing someone from the Middle East and Strive. That's not to say that Strive's netcode is bad in any way, I'm merely using the example to hammer home the fact that DNF's netcode is just straight up magic and I have no clue how it works this damn well. Right, so the netcode is great, so the general online environment is great? No, it's not. Why? Because for every new game that comes out that improves on one aspect of online, the rest of the online environment's elements are just completely neglected. First up, there is no stupid lobby, and even though you technically kind of can still dodge certain people as long as you have a right analog stick from what I understand, it is a real matchmaking queue which you can just let run and find you matches. For some reason, however, you're once again not shown the info you need to make a decision on if you want to accept a match or not. What's their ping, are they on Ethernet or Wi-Fi, and what's their match completion percentage. You're not given any of this. Instead, you once again have to choose a region you want to play in, which, as I discussed in this video, is done. At the very least, there is a global region to choose from as well, but you will just end up with really bad connections here as everybody else will logically, as it's offered, choose their respective regions, which in turn makes the global option completely useless. Also, the queue is kind of buggy and doesn't do a great job of actually making matches. I keep getting matched with the same people over and over, then all of a sudden you don't get any matches anymore. The logical conclusion here would be, duh, there's no one else to play with, that's why you kept getting matched with the same person. If they're going, you'll just sit there waiting. That is incorrect though, as when I check live streams, I see a lot of people from Europe either playing or also just waiting for minutes on end. In training mode, it's absolutely busted, by the way. If you reset the room, I think you just outright destroy the queue and you will never again get a match. Granted, I haven't tested it for that long, but yeah, training mode just did not work for me. So there are things that can definitely be optimized here. The way things work here is less important, as you're supposed to take more of an active role in making things work anyway. There are, however, still some things that are just not working as intended. For one, if you search for rooms, and this might just be a PSN kind of issue, I don't know how it works on Steam, but your account's region is used to measure the ping of the room instead of your location. Which makes no sense, because once you go into the room, you can see the individual connection indicators anyway. So if I open up a room, chances are people from Europe are unlikely to find me unless I put Europe into the notice. Which will still look rather dodgy, as another person from Europe will now see my room having an awful ping. So they won't click on it. On the flip side, if I am searching for rooms, I now have to look for the worst ones, which are more likely to be closer to my region. Thankfully, as the netcode is as magical as it is, you can get away with a lot here, and this is a very niche kind of issue to begin with, but still, it is not working as intended. Between how ranked and player matches work though, it is already a vast improvement over Strive. In terms of usability, still leaks behind SF5, but SF5's netcode is garbage, so it swings and roundabouts. I mean, technically speaking, it's just going back to Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, right? But this time it's actually playable. I don't care. I just made it into Gold League, feeling quite proud of myself as I don't think I have ever played a character as underpowered as Launcher. I have nothing to lose here, right, so I'm not going to switch, but looking at how hilariously busted Swiftmaster is and then glancing over at my precious Launcher and realizing how useless she is, like she could seriously screw over here. I'm still having a ton of fun though. What are your thoughts on DNF Duel so far? Is it something you can see yourself playing for longer, or is it just this year's summer fighter and that's it? Also let me know which character you are playing and what character you dislike the most so far. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell icon, yada yada yada, you know the drill. Thank you very much for watching this video all the way to the end. I appreciate it, honestly. My name's Sasa, and I will see you next time.